Hello, my name is Jarrod Fairclough.
And I'm Joe Hennis.
And welcome to Introduce Our Guest Star, a podcast for toughpigs.com. In this show, Joe and I take it in turns to surprise each other with that week's guest. This week, it is my turn. Joe.
Yes,
Joe,
Jarrod.
you don't know who's joining us, do you?
Not a clue.
You have a slight advantage.
Why do I have a slight advantage? Because I know who it's not, because we've already done 8 episodes of the show.
Yeah, but also, if you remember, I accidentally dropped a pronoun.
You did.
Recently.
Yes, I know that this person is female.
Yes.
Yes.
So that eliminates 49% of the population.
Great. And yet I'm still completely clueless as to who it's going to be.
You are. So as we do, you have some questions you can ask and see if you can't narrow it down.
Wonderful. All right, well, let's start with that old chestnut. Is it Muppets, Sesame, or Henson?
Sesame.
Sesame. Interesting.
Interesting.
Is this person a puppeteer?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, that narrows it down.
That was really flippant, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's just what we do on this show. We just get a lot of puppeteers. That's all. That's all we do. Cool. Okay. This person's a puppeteer on Sesame Street. Was this person a puppeteer on Sesame Street in the 1980s?
No.
Well, that was a dumb question because it didn't narrow it down at all. All right, I'm gonna pick a person. Here we go. Fingers crossed. Is it Stephanie DeBruzzo?
Incorrect.
Ugh.
Oh, that always makes me happy when you get one wrong. Joe, my guest today is one of the most delightful people I've ever met. She began her career on Muppets Tonight, where she played Pamela Henderson, before working on shows like Animal Jam, The Wubbulous World of Dr. Zeus. However, she's perhaps best known for her role as Abby Cadabby on Sesame Street, which has earned her 5 Daytime Emmy nominations. Also, did you know she was on The Simpsons? Because I certainly didn't.
I didn't know she was on The Simpsons. That's fascinating.
Joe, would you please welcome to introduce our guest star, my friend, your friend, and Lolly Lardpop's best friend, Leslie Carrara-Rudolph.
Hi.
There you are.
There you are. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming on.
Leslie, what a treat. I get you twice in a week.
I don't think I count as a celebrity. I was like, Jarrod,
You
are
do.
you sure? I don't think I count. But
100%
You absolutely count.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day to all. Thank you for the Mother's Day wishes. I much appreciated.
That's great. My kids didn't
as a
get me
mother,
anything.
You know.
How are you?
How are you, Leslie?
I'm good. I'm actually laughing because I was in the middle of shooting an epic film that I had to stop production for in order to have this moment with you.
Wow. Anything you can tell us about?
Sure. Lolly, this is her 20th year. I've been doing Lolly for 20 years, so I say yes to everything, and I'm just saying yes for anything. Well, I say yes in general anyway, but like puppet stuff, I'm just going to it's Lolly's year. I'm just going to go for it. So she did the 48-hour Puppet Film Festival, which I did a stop motion beaver film with pipe cleaner beavers, but apparently stop motion doesn't count as live puppetry. It's animation. So I was like, oh, I didn't know. So we didn't get disqualified, but we did get honorable mention. And then
that's nice.
This is the CB's Puppet Theater. Every year they pick a film and then they part out all the scenes and they assign it. People sign up to do a scene, but you do it with puppetry. So this year, the film, I just said, sure, I'll do it. Don't tell me, just send me the scene. But it's Aliens, not Alien, but the sequel to Alien, which is Aliens. I was like, oh my gosh, and I didn't see that. I don't like scary movies. I hate scary movies. So I said, just assign me a scene. So they assigned me a scene, and I watched it in broad daylight with Paul. I'm like, just tell me what my scene is. And so I'm responsible for that little scene. So
little snippet.
Your scene, because we were talking about this before. Your scene's like at the end of the movie, right?
No, it's like giveaway. It's
This is a podcast. Nobody knows what you just
I know.
did.
I just did a Milano cookie pod alien attack them with goo on it. No, my scene's number 9. It's right it's right after they find Newt. I don't know if anybody's seen this movie. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's right when it's the first chest burster.
Oh, lovely. So that gave you at least a not too scary scene, I guess.
Not too scary. Yeah, sure.
And I'm
Just,
shooting
only a little terrifying.
I shoot it by myself because Paul was like, look, just because you said yes doesn't mean I said yes. So most of the time it's all me filming on selfie and trying to figure out angles and stuff. And but it's pretty funny. But I love it because I just used the Lolly's repertoire company, which is whatever is around. Newhart makes a cameo.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. You're a very beautiful little dog.
Yeah.
It's. I was wondering, how long it's going to take us to talk about Abby in this conversation. So I don't want to start with Abby. I want to talk about Lolly because, like you say, it's Lolly's 20th anniversary, which is super exciting. Which, by the way, I didn't realize that Lolly Lardpop is the same age as Tough Pigs because we're also celebrating 20 later this year.
Really? Congratulations!
I don't know how.
Ours is.
Thank you. I don't know how we're going to do it. But
is yours?
I don't know what we're going to do yet.
When is your anniversary?
August.
Okay, yours is. I have a little more time. Ours is in October.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she was born on Halloween. No, they can't see my air quotes either on this podcast.
It's all right. It's the most visual podcast. That's what I'm aiming for.
But you should be hearing Paul mixing Newhart's food. Can you guys hear that?
I can hear that. A little bit. Everyone will enjoy that. That'll be.
It adds human interest.
We feed our dog. We feed our dog.
I'm curious where Lolly got her name. Because, I get Lolly and Candy and Pop, but you got Lard in there, which is not something that I think people most usually think of when they think of candy or something sweet.
Oh, because she eats candy, sugar, and lard. Well, Lolly was an incoming. Lardpop was because if you Google Lolly Pop and Lolly stuff, some crazy things come up, right? But Lardpop, I was like, oh, this is good. I like candy, sugar, and lard. And I'm just like, that's what I'm made of. I bleed frosting. And, yeah, so that's it. And her middle name starts with a C and she hates her middle name.
What's her middle name?
What's her middle name?
You have to guess. It starts with a C.
It's going to be like...
It's something she really hates.
Cauliflower.
Oh my God! I can't believe you.
Did I get it?
Yes.
Yes.
Right out of the...
All right. We can end this podcast now. Thank you very much, everybody. Goodbye.
No one's ever guessed cauliflower. I'll have to change all my passwords now.
Oh, all right. Oh, God.
It's fine. All I thought was, all I know is it's not candy. She loves...
It's a vegetable. She's like, it's the most horrible name ever. Cauliflower. Yeah, so I don't know. I think Lolly was just like an incoming. I made her so quickly that it was literally, you guys know the story of Lolly, right? How I made her.
I maybe our listeners don't. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I had created a show for the Disney company that was at the Disney El Capitan Theater, which is awesome. And my characters were busy with that company. So, and then that show, when that show ended, a lot of my characters went with that. And so when I started over, I was so used to being in front of family audiences. And then I did also perform a lot under in the basements of some very nice places in Silver Lake. but I had been so busy being a family entertainer, and I also was active in my community of Silver Lake. I entered a drag competition and won under assumed name Edwina Faintart, sock monkey specialist. I entered this competition completely. No one knew who I was because I went as Edwina Faintart because Disney had a clause in my contract that I had to do just PG or G things. And this was a drag competition, and I could control my performances, but not everybody else's. But we were raising money for the community, and so I went undercover. And so whenever I performed more, things that weren't necessarily for kids, I was Leslie Rudolph. And whenever I was performing for PG or G, I was Leslie Carrara. Even though, I would say, I'm my stuff is more Monty Python. That's what I say. I get twisted and weird and obscure, like my last my last cabaret, I popped a tick out of my neck and it went tap dancing, and I gave it to a child in the audience. And it was just, my things are just obscure. Anyway, my friend said, why don't you come and sing in my cabaret? And I was like, you know what? I can't even remember what I sound like anymore. And I used to sing with a big band, and I loved to sing, and I did a lot of theater, but I've been so busy doing characters, I couldn't remember my voice. And plus I figured no one would come, and so I just said yes. And I was sad about, my losing my Disney show. And then, I was terrified. I was like, I haven't really been myself in front of anybody for so long. So I called my friend, Miss Coco Peru. If you don't know her, she's a very famous drag queen and monologuist. And she's incredible. She's like the Spalding Gray of Coco is just a brilliant writer. And because I'd won the drag competition, I was doing a lot of outreach, and I was doing a lot of different shows. We were raising money for AIDS and everything. So I called Coco and I said, I'm so nervous. I go, I don't know what to do. She says, well, there's always suicide, or you can make a puppet. And I was like, what? She goes, yeah, or you can make a puppet. And it's like Eddie Izzard, Cake or Death. I'm like, wait, puppet or suicide? She goes, just make a puppet, right? Just make it open with something you're comfortable with, get yourself comfortable, get it out of the way, and then move on. And I was like, okay. Well, this was like 45 minutes before the show. And I knew I was going to sing Candyman, but I was going to do it as me because I love candy. And I was like, well, I'm just going to have. So I made Lolly in like a half hour. And I had a Pippi Longstockings like brace because it was around Halloween. And I twisted it straight up in the air. And then I threw it together. I didn't even have arm rods. My friend Allison Mork, I'm like, Allison, do you have any arm rods or do you have anything? And she goes, well, I'll get some coat hangers, just twist it around her wrists. And I got to the theater. It was the Atlas Supper Club, and I put Lolly on, and, my husband hadn't seen her. My musical director hadn't seen her. I'm like, I'm just going to do something different. Just go with me. And I opened up and I said, Irene, I'm so sorry. I'm late. I was supposed to babysit, and I forgot all about this. I hope you don't mind. I had to bring her with me. And she goes, well, bring her out. And I'm like, okay. And then I brought out Lolly, and I was like, what? Did anybody have any candy? And I just it was an incoming where I went through the audience and went through their purses looking for mints. I was like, I had nervous, crazy energy. And then she sang the Candyman. And then I put her down and I did the rest of my set. And, I was in a dress, which was, I hadn't been in a dress in a long time. And at the end of the show, I was like, oh, this is great. Well, I had such a following from doing all the outreach that I was doing. Everybody's like, that was amazing. I'm like, oh, thank you. Can Lolly be in my show? What? Where did you get Lolly? Paul's like, where'd you get Lolly? And so Lolly got booked. Like, all these friends asked Lolly to be in their shows. And I was like, I'm in a dress. I'm singing. So that was just like, and that was 20 years ago that she would do like little appearances. And it was hilarious. Asked to judge pet costume competitions.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Lolly is your
Phoenix Rising.
Tony Clifton.
Huh?
Yeah, that too. I said you're Tony Clifton. Like Andy Kaufman had Tony Clifton, and Tony was getting booked on shows, and it's like, well, I mean, you're not going to get Andy, you're going to get Tony.
It's true. People will call me and say, do you think Lolly is available for, and I'm like, well, let me ask her. She's right here. And I'm like, she's on my arm. I just laugh. But it's also super endearing that even adults can compartmentalize. My mom sends Lolly a birthday card every year, and she puts $5 in it. and writes a note. Please, please don't spend this all on candy. I'll take you to the dollar store when I see you. My mom writes these beautiful notes. One time she called me and said, oh, I didn't get Lolly's birthday card in the mail in time. And I'm like, I just won't tell her it's her birthday. I mean, I'll wait till it gets here to tell her that it's her birthday.
So is the Lolly puppet still the original? Like you made 1.5 hours and she's just lasted you for 20 years?
Yeah, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, I'm sorry. This is going to be it for the viewers that are weak-hearted. Listen to this. I think I've had about 6 lollies in 20 years.
Wow.
Which is maybe 6 or 8, because I just use a really thick sweat sock. But like that lolly right there, she's starting to get worn down. But what's hard to find are the Pippi Longstockings. So what I do is I scalp her. I cut her head off, and I cut them because I can't find the right hair, and I stick it on another sock. So I have 2, and I have made some. But the thing is about Lolly, she has to look like Marty Robinson goes, I'm going to make you a sock puppet. I'm going to make you a Lolly. People have offered to make Lolly, and then Marty's like, I can't make her because it's too good. People make it too good. Marty Robinson makes the most beautiful sock puppets. I think him and Tim Lagasse are having a sock puppet workshop at the O'Neill this summer, and I want to take it. But Lolly, on purpose, because when I take her into schools, kids literally look at it and go, oh, I can make that. But if I bring Abby or a really nice puppet, they're not going to go home and make a puppet as likely as if they see Lolly. They're immediately have the, I can do that. So
that's something that we've talked about a lot, and more in terms of like the Disney owned Muppets, and how Disney's very interested in not revealing the magic, and the Muppets are real, that sort of thing, like no behind the scenes stuff. And the thing that you lose is that inspiration that kids will get by looking at that and saying, I could be a puppeteer, or I could be a puppet builder, or I could work in television or the movies.
There's so much of that though now everywhere. Like when I grew up, there was none of that. Now there's workshops, there's like everywhere you go, you can, it's a lot easier to know how it's done than it was in the past. Yeah.
When you were a kid then, what got you to puppetry? Where did that idea come from?
For me, I mean, I was just a fan. I was really into animation because my dad wanted to be an animator for Disney. And this story I've told a lot is that my dad actually went back to school having 4 kids. I was the youngest. I was the only one born in California. And my mom just told me that my dad was the only one in his family that got to go to college. They worked really hard. My mom worked right out of school. It was a different time back then. And, my Nona came over from Italy. And so my aunts were from Italy. And then they had my 3 brothers, and they worked, and my dad did all kinds of stuff. And then, got in an accident where he couldn't do the physical labor, and he always wanted to draw. So he pursued that. He went to Cal Arts and then became an art teacher. And he always took me to movies. We always had characters. I was always drawing. So I was always, and I was the youngest. So I was always like really hyper and crazy. So I was always put in the backyard, and I explained that, and my grandparents, and every after school program known to mankind. And my grandparents live with us, and my grandpa showed me my very first puppet, which was a snapdragon. And like, if you go to the tiki room and you see all the flowers sing and everything, but when I was little, like my grandpa showed me, like, if you pinch the back of a snapdragon, it talks to you. And I remember something in my brain went, wow, other things can talk too, I bet, and I started seeing the world in a creative way. So I would just make puppets. Like for me, my first puppet was made out of a slipper, because you bend the slipper and it already has a hard palate and stuff, and you can stick things on it. And I did a lot of outreach. So I just made my own, I made anything talk. I have in the corner, I have like a potato masher with a sponge and everything, and and bandana, and I've made a wolf out of it, just grabbing things that I could to tell stories. So I didn't even, it wasn't until I auditioned for the Muppets that I saw how it was done. I mean, it was literally like, oh dear God, and I collected frogs. So of course I was in love with Kermit. My big graduation gift from college was the Kermit the Frog telephone. And my family gathered around. It was a big deal, watched me open it. I was like, oh, I wanted this so bad. I mean, that was it. That was like,
which Kermit phone? Because there's two. There's one that's like him sitting back.
It's the one he's sitting back like this. And it's
that's the one I want.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, I have the other one.
Yeah, you have the one, the green one that goes like this.
Yeah, I have it on a shelf over here.
I have
somewhere,
it just up here.
Yeah,
I sadly went through a really rough time and had to sell mine. I went through a couple.
Was it? Because I've seen it every once in a while. I catch it like on eBay or something like that. But I feel like there's a rotary phone version. There's the one with buttons, and then I feel like there's one with a rotary phone.
Okay,
so I just have the one.
Again, visual podcast, so no one's going to see this, but
it's
Jarrod is grabbing
the button
something.
One that I have.
Yeah.
With the.
Oh no, I think I have.
Jarrod, this is fascinating.
I think I have the button.
No, I have
not that
one.
I'm talking about the one where he's reclining.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. Well,
yeah, I had that one too. I got that one in a gift basket. My very first gift basket from the Muppets at when I was shocked for Muppets Tonight, and I saw it in Brian's office. I think they were putting that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing! And then I was like, it's in my basket. I was freaking out. But
So how did you get that audition for the Muppets?
Oh, okay. So, gosh. Okay. There's a lot of fast forwarding through this. So,
that's all right.
That's okay.
We're jumping around.
That's okay, as long as you don't mind. I had so my background is child development through the arts. So I was teaching a lot, and then I did a lot of theater, and then I did theater in San Francisco called Beach Blanket Babylon. I did that, and then Disney saw me, and then I went to Disney World. I was supposed to be working as an early show at the Comedy Warehouse, where I would do comedy kind of for kids other than improv. But I ended up working at the Adventures Club. I met my friend Sandy Fox. My friend Sandy Fox moved to California. She was doing Betty Boop at Universal. She started dating Kurt Thatcher. Kurt Thatcher started working on this show called Muppets Tonight. Anybody who knows me or seen me, and I always had like Kermit on my leg. I was such a nerd. People just made like, she's a human Muppet. The way they make fun of the way I walk, and I was super physical and goofy. And Sandy says they're having, I told Kurt about you, and I think that I got called in, but my puppets, it was embarrassing. Like, I had a suitcase like that said "Live, Love, and Laugh" that I hand painted on it, and I opened it up, and it was Kurt Thatcher and Dick Blasucci, and I'm like, well, I do this and I do this, and they just kind of went, nice, we'll be in touch. And I was like, oh, I don't think that went well. I was just like a crazy person, and I'll just leave, because I'm from the Bay Area. I am from Northern California, which is different than Los Angeles. I tell you, it's completely different. Like, we're hippies and quirky, and my dad painted our car, and we do all kinds of, my family, we're just not that we're carnies, but we practically are. Anyway, so then I did have managers at the time, because when I was at Disney World, I auditioned to be audience warm up for the Mickey Mouse Club. And then they hired me as an actress, and I was kind of bummed, because I just wanted to do audience warm up, which I would love to do. I if anybody needs one, I would love to do that.
That's interesting. It's usually the other way around.
I just,
like, well, I auditioned for the show, but they got me warming up beforehand.
No, I'd rather just talk to people and make them laugh and leave and just still maintain my identity and know that I made a difference. But anyway, so but I had managers, and I had written a show called Life in Other People's Shoes, and it was there were shoes all over the stage, and I would cartoon a character, and then I'd like put on the shoes, and I'd assume their identity, stuff like that, do a monologue or sing. And that's what I did. My gypsy character, I had done I hadn't done Search for Signs yet, but I did do Parallel Lives with Paula Pell. We were in the Kathy Mo show together, and so we were doing comedy together. I know Paula and I talked about this. We were in the Kathy Mo show. In the beginning, they stand with these big angel wings, and they look down, and they're figuring out how they're gonna work on the earth below, the earthlings. And Paula and I were backstage in our wings, and I was like, Paula, how do you think people make it? And she's like, I think either you're born into it, into the Hollywood nepotism world, or you're just in the right place at the right time, or you're just meant to be, I don't know, and I was like, isn't that weird? But we're always going to have this moment, where we were in Florida, in Orlando, Florida, Orlando rep, and we did the Kathy Mo show. It was such a magical time. It was such a great time. And then Paula was in a couple people's sketches who were submitting to Saturday Night Live, and Lauren Michaels saw her and saw that she was Paula's one of the funniest women on earth.
Oh my God.
She's hilarious. I love her so much. And he said, I want you to write. And she goes, I'm not a writer. I'm a comedian. What? He goes, you're funny. You can write. Funny. So he hired Paula. And I was like, oh my gosh, Paula. And then this is like a couple months after we'd done the show. Then the people that saw me at the Mickey Mouse Club, the writers from the Mickey Mouse Club, found out that they said, if you're in LA, call us up, because we think you're like the female Robin Williams. We'll just bring you around. And they had brought me to meet, I think it was Dick Bardis at the time at the HBO or something. And he says, we have this HBO workspace, like a space that it's now Comedy Central, that we give comedians or writers a little spot and they can invite people to. And so they gave me a couple nights there, and someone came and said they're having cattle calls for female comedians who can sing and do voices for the Muppets. This was after I had already had the initial,
okay,
here's my suitcase, aren't I fun? So then I went to the cattle call on my own. I found out, I saw, and I think, I talked about this on Bill Beretta's podcast, and they were seeing 10 people every half hour for 2 days. And
God,
jeez.
And then I just happened to be, it was one of those things. I go, Bill's why I'm a puppeteer. I'm like, he took a chance on me. He convinced Brian. He goes, listen, she's got characters. We can figure it out. We can help her. And it was terrifying. I'm not going to lie. I thought I was going to be fired every day because I had no idea what I was doing. At the audition, they just had us do a monologue and sing. But I never got to my song because Bill just said, just tell me why you're this way. And then the second call back, Martin Baker was there, Brian Henson, Alan Trotman. And Bill, thank God. My hands were sweating. I don't even think Kevin was there. And then they gave us a puppet, and we were in a dance studio, and I was improvising with the puppet, and we had the puppet on. And then all of a sudden, Alan puts his hand up in the air. I'm like, well, that's weird. Because I was like, so I put my hand up in the air. And then he started.
Just because people can't see you, you have your hand up like near your face.
I just didn't know what he was doing because I didn't
Yeah,
I hadn't
you need to put it up above your head.
Any reference whatsoever. Like there was no behind the scenes. There was things in books. Like I read, Jim Henson, The Works, and I made the wish. Then I wished that I could fit into that world. So I was looking up the whole time, but Alan was looking into the mirror, the dance mirror, and improvising. So I had no idea what was going on. And then I got a call back, and it was me and another improviser, Louisette from the Groundlings. And we had a workshop with Bill, and it was, just with a monitor. And it was I think it was from 10 to 12, and then at lunch, and then from, 1 to 3 or something. It was just 4 hours. And he gave us basic monitor skills. I just had no idea. And it was backwards. And I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I don't know enough to be freaked out. I'm just an adventure. And I pick angel cards every day. And the angel card I picked was adventure. And it's the angel with the walking stick. And I remember just saying, Jim, if you're with me, if you're watching this, what should I remember? And so when I picked adventure, I'm like, well, this is an adventure. When you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose. And then I got it. And then that was the extent of the training I got. That was it. Then I was just thrown on set, and I was just watching. I was like, oh my God. So,
maybe that angel's walking stick wasn't a walking stick. Maybe it was an arm rod the whole time. Just upside down.
Yeah, maybe Jim was like somehow puppeteering me through this whole thing. I don't know. But I fell in love with it though, because like I said, I'm from theater in the Bay Area, and I really was going to be a teacher for, I was either going to do, kids at risk, or, special ed. Back in the day, they called it special ed. But I just loved characters my whole life since my dad through animation, and there's no boundaries for what you could do. And I didn't have the confidence that you need to have in Hollywood to be able to, put on makeup and clothes. I'm just too much of a puppy dog. I just want to play. I don't want to have to look nice.
That's my mantra all the time.
Well, you know what I mean? I just want to, let's just do this, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was perfect.
You get thrown into that environment, but what an environment to get thrown into, because, you're learning, trial by fire, but you're learning with, the best people in the business. So it was probably the best place for you.
It was. I just stayed on set the whole time. I watched people's style. Like the cool thing about that, it was like, and Bill was great. Bill he'd come in, he'd whisper a couple pearls. Kevin was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with this lady? This crazy woman. This woman's crazy. She don't know what, But he would just like, I watched, everybody has a different style. And, he goes, see what resonates with you. But also, all the stars that we had, it was like a masterclass. Like, how people are taking masterclass now?
Yeah.
Which is great. I watched Steve Martin's, and I heard Ron Howard's is good. And then I really want to, David Sedaris, I started for storytelling. But it was nice to see people work. And when you're underneath them, it's uninhibiting. You get used to, can you hear Newhart squeeze his pig?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, for anyone wondering what that noise is in the background, that's Newhart the dog.
Well, yeah, I just cut his hair, and it's ridiculous. I literally had enough hair to make another dog, so I did. And I did a stop motion video of Newhart's alter ego out of his fur.
Nice. Beautiful.
So yeah, it was great.
When you were on Muppets Tonight, were there any guest stars that you were particularly enamored with, or anyone you had a good connection with, or were super fun to work with?
Oh my God. Well, I have to say, when I was in Whoopi Goldberg, when I was at Disney World, when I got there, it wasn't exactly what I thought it would be. And I was away from home and I was blue. I got George and Gracie, my two kitties there. I always usually have an animal, a dog or something. And I was just really blue. And I was reading an article about Whoopi and about, her being a mom and being a comedian and all the things that she did. And I was like, you know what? This is nothing. I'm working in a theme park, what an inspiration. So I wrote her a fan letter and I just sent it out because it made me, I just wanted to say, like, and I put my mom's address, my mom and dad's address, because I didn't know where I was going to be. And my mom called me up and she's like, you've got an envelope here from Whoop Incorporated. And I'm like, what? Open it. And she opened it up and it was an autographed picture of Whoopi Goldberg. And it just said, thanks, Leslie. Whoopi.
What a class act.
What a wonderful
and
person.
I thought, I felt like she read my letter. Like, I didn't ask her for a picture. I didn't ask her. And I just was like, so when she was on, I was giddy because I was just like, I wonder if she, I'm going to tell her the story, and I, and she was so cool. She was on, she was hanging out with Bruce Vilanch. It was the year that she was hosting the Oscars. She was on a diet where she was just eating beef jerky. That
sounds like the best diet.
And she was like, she's being fitted. And I was like, she had all those diamonds. I go, I almost wore my necklace like that today, but wouldn't that have been embarrassing? And she's like, well, I saw you wearing it yesterday. I knew you wouldn't have the nerve to wear it 2 days in a row. But like she saw, she keyed into me at the table because I was the only female.
Yep.
In the cast. And there wasn't a lot for me to do. And I think she keyed into that. So when we were on set, she Leslie, what are you doing? Like, I was like, oh my gosh. And I told her, I said, look, I wrote a letter to you. And I don't know if it's so long ago, she goes, I try, I'm really trying. Yeah, try to do that. If I had shoes like those, I painted her some shoes. I had a better Whoopi. That was bad, but
I didn't realize how close Whoopi was to Floyd. Like that was a pretty good Floyd Pepper impression.
Well, he Abby Cadabby. If I had some shoes like that, I'd wear them every day. And I painted her some dragon shoes, and she wore them on the show. But great. I mean, that was years later when I saw her on Sesame Street. And when I'm so...
Right, because you guys have probably worked together a dozen times now.
Well, then the next time I saw her was when I got Abby and I was on a radio show. She got her picture with Gail, my guinea pig. And it was right when she was leaving the radio show to be on The View. And she was nervous. She says, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. And I was like, you just be you. We need you. And then I saw her again on the 50th special, but everybody was in awe. And I don't know. I always feel like, they don't remember me. I'm just, So that I'd have to say Whoopi was the greatest, but there was just so many moments that you don't have enough time on the podcast for, but
we could do a whole podcast about every celebrity you've ever met.
I do have a really great scrapbook and at home in California. Next time I go, I'll get it. Because yes. I got some autographs. One of my favorite moments was with Garth Brooks. Jerry Nelson and I we recorded at Capitol Records most of the time, except for when we were with Prince. And I can't remember where where was Conway Studios was, but other than that, we were usually at Capitol Records, the house that Frank built, and where I met my husband. Well, probably the most memorable thing to happen to me on Muppets Tonight is meeting the love of my life, Mr. Paul Rudolph.
Right, it's like, yeah, Whoopi Goldberg, blah, blah, blah. But,
no,
yeah,
which is a romantic story. But we were, but to finish off the Garth Brooks thing, we were at Capitol and we were recording background vocals, chickens. for Fiddler on the Roof, even though we did the chickens,
Mhm.
even though we did the chicken slide. And a lot of times the guests performed live, but we were sitting, we were getting ready to exit and listen to Garth Brooks. And Jerry and I decided to stay in the studio and just have a private concert with Garth Brooks. And
Great.
I was sitting next to Jerry Nelson and listening to him. And it was just one of those pinch me moments. So I
Yeah,
thought that was pretty
I love
cool.
that's
it.
pretty great.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of really interesting role. You had a lot of interesting roles, like aside from your Sesame work, aside from Muppets Tonight, which I feel like are the two Henson related things that we kind of always go back to. But do you have any, particularly great moments about like Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss or Animal Jam or Puppet Up? I know you did that for a minute.
No, we did that for a long time, actually. Now it's just.
Were you on Puppet Up for a long time?
I
I saw you
actually
do it
one of the
once, so I feel like it
founding
was-
members. So Puppet Up started way before it became, it used to be like Brian just had a bunch of us puppeteers on Monday nights and brought Patrick Bristow to give us improv classes and stuff and with puppets. And so we were just doing it. And then Brian said, why don't we do it in front of like people, at the studio? So we did in front of people. I wasn't in the first one. And some people came on the lot to see it. And somebody from the Aspen Comedy Festival came and said, I want you to do that at the Aspen Comedy Festival. And so we're like, what? So my first gig was we all went to the Aspen Comedy Festival. And I have a really scary story about that. So we went to the Aspen Comedy Festival, and a lot of times, Patrick will put us together, and he picked Bill Beretta and I. He goes, okay, you guys are going to do the date. I'm like, okay. And there's this little round beaver that I just love to pick this little beaver. He's one of my favorite puppets. It's so cute. She's so cute. And Bill picked this big caveman. You guys, I don't know if you've seen the caveman.
Yeah.
It's a big caveman. He's a big guy. He's got a monobrow. He's got hair on his forearms and back. Not this little beaver. And then for the suggestion from the audience was like Costco, where do you go on a date, or the Wax Museum, Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. So he says, let's take the Wax Museum, double points if you can get in Costco. So I'm like, I'm so excited. We stopped and got a Chico bake and a hot dog at Costco before we go to this Wax Museum. It's my favorite thing. I like to dip it in the ranch dressing. So we're talking. And then unbeknownst to me, Jon Favreau was in the audience, and Bill's friends with Jon Favreau. And I hope he doesn't hear this. Does Jon Favreau listen to your podcast?
He is next week's guest.
Oh my
That's
God.
not true. That's not true.
And I'm sorry. So, but I mean, Jon Favreau, he's amazing. I'm such a huge fan. I love him, but I'm not, at the time I didn't know names or anything, faces and stuff. And he was, at that time, he was a big guy.
Yep.
And so Bill says, he goes, I'm so glad that you're going to come with me to see the new Jon Favreau at the Wax Museum. And I'm like, he's my favorite. I love him. The only reason I went out with you is because you look exactly like him.
Yeah.
That was my yes and, right? And it was just like, and it did kind of
Oh.
at the time. But anyway, so afterwards, everybody's laugh, whatever. There was a laugh. And then afterwards, coming up after the show, guess who came up and said, hey, nice improv. I'm like, nice to meet you. He goes, I'm Jon Favreau. And I'm like, oh my God, you look just like that caveman. Oh my God. So, but anyway, from that, we went to the Australian Comedy Festival.
Which
and then-
I saw. I was there.
Yeah. So I went to
Yeah.
that. I was at the Australian Comedy Festival. I think we went, I want to say twice. No, Edinburgh was twice. And then we went to Edinburgh. And then, but then it was busy. And then they started bringing more improv people in and stuff.
Yeah.
And so then once Sesame Street happened, I didn't get, they had a stable of people. But then when we were in New York, out of the,
which is when I saw the show.
Yeah, so I did.
When you guys were,
I did every week except for 3. So I did every week except for 3.
Yeah.
So I was in it a lot. So.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Something I didn't realize you'd been in until I was doing a little bit of research for this was I didn't know you'd been in The Simpsons.
Oh, well, I don't. That's background Walla. You know, they come in. Yeah, it's super exciting. Well, I mean, please. I'm just like, when you say being in The Simpsons, I mean, they're amazing. But yeah, you get brought in and you do the background characters and stuff like that. So we did the background Walla, but then we used to get to go to the, you know, that they would always have their cast party, not their cast party, but their Halloween of Horror, big parties for that.
Yep.
And we got, my favorite wrap gift was a Marge Simpson vacuum cleaner. They sent us a yellow, big long yellow vacuum cleaner with a pair of eyes. It has like these, you know, it's just a yellow vacuum cleaner and a big blue wig to put over it, and said, "This is a Marge Simpson vacuum cleaner."
That's amazing, and I want one.
And we got poker chips. I mean, those are like, oh my God, they're so heavy. We got a Homer Simpson, you know, was it Garmin or what was it, like, you know, the
the GPS thing.
Yeah, like woohoo!
Yeah,
we're on the freeway.
Yeah,
woohoo!
right.
I'm a genius. That also Animal Jam. To loop back, Animal Jam was awesome. Like that happened right after my Disney show, and I did like a test with Edie the zebra, and then we ended up. I got to stay as Edie, and we went to Disney World in Florida, and we filmed for 6 weeks, and we did 30 episodes in 6 weeks. So we
that is a slog.
It was intense. We did an episode a day, and there was 2 songs in every episode. So we would film all our scenes and our songs up until 1:00. We'd get lunch, and then we'd have a live studio audience. And then Edie would go out and warm up the kids because I'm hyper. And then the kids would come in, and then we would perform live until like 5, 6 o'clock. And then we would pick up whatever we left. It was grueling, but it was fantastic because that's where I really cut my teeth and got better as a puppeteer. And I think Animal Jam was after Dr. Seuss, right? Dr. Seuss, I was second season.
That sounds right. Yeah, I can look it up.
I was second season Dr. Seuss.
Right in front of me.
And that's where I met Matt, Marty, and Pam, and Tim, and Jim Nappy. And Tim and I realized that that his mom gave me away. And that was that he was my brother. And it was very traumatic. But no, we've realized we're the same person.
Yes, Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss, if you were on season 2, that would have been around 97. And Animal Jam was until 2003.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, because my Disney show was in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that ran for 4 months at the El Capitan. So
I love it.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk a little bit about one of your, like, you're probably your best known Sesame Street character that you're really famous for, Penelope.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God. I thought you were going to talk about Velvet the Curtain. I'm still hanging around just waiting for someone to ask, because I was fat. Fine, I'll go back up. Are you talking about Penelope Penguin, the best character? Oh my God.
Here's my question. Why isn't Penelope in every episode?
Why? You know what? Here's the thing, Joe. When we used to have readings, I would say, you know what this scene needs is a penguin. And I don't know. It's kind of weird. And I was just, my very first thing I ever did was Pam Lappa Islands. And it was kind of like I was reading over the phone, and I was trying to think, like, originally it was like Jennifer Tilly meets a little bit of Roseanne Barr, and she was just like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. And I just was such an odd choice. And they're like, yeah, use that. And I was like, really? And I just love that penguin so much, and that I was constantly. And when Joey was like, I go, if you could do any character, I go Penelope, the penguin. Well, I didn't. Marty Robinson's wife, Annie, named her Penelope. I did not. So,
So was that the same voice that you did for Coco the penguin on Pound Wappa?
Yeah. So I was Coco, right? And then I went and I did Elmo the musical. I'm sorry, it sounds like I've had a little bit of some fish nog, right? I have such a beautiful laugh. And then I did Elmo the musical, and that was pretty funny. I thought Kevin was gonna kill me because I was just such a spaz. And then she was in an episode where she was Big Bird's pen pal, and she hugs too hard. It's like, I love her because she's based on some of the kids that I work with that just can't pick up social skills. My nephew is just like, ask questions or like, you ask that question, like, she's blunt. She doesn't, I actually pitched, I wanted to write The Hard Way with Penelope Penguin. Here's how I learned things the hard way, where she was just asking kids like, I can't read your facial expression, or I don't know what you mean, like kids that are a little bit struggling with social cues. And I just thought it would be great to have kids kind of explain to Penelope, like, what do you mean I talk too loud? Just like, well, Penelope, I just thought that would be a segment. That would be sweet. But then the Billy Porter thing happened, and I had penguin pants on. I got dressed like 4 or 5 times that morning. I am really surprised I didn't cry the whole time, because I was so excited to be there. So
yeah,
I can't imagine knowing that you're going to be spending a day with Billy Porter and having to figure out what to dress, what to wear before you go, because you know that he's going to be wearing something amazing and unique. Well, you're like, I don't know, jeans? I can't do that.
I had white corduroys that had little embroidered penguins all over it. I had a shirt that had a really shiny heart on it, and I had my cool hat that my husband bought me for my birthday. I always wear a vest, mostly because I can hook my mic pack to the back of my vest and my hat. It's just easier than having it on your pants. But I had ruby slipper socks on. So when I took my shoes off on the white thing, it looked like I had ruby slippers on.
Great.
But I was just so, like, when they said he's going to sing with a penguin, I was like, I thought, oh, I hope it's me. Like, I get to do Abby, and I love doing Abby, but I don't get to do as many incidental characters. So I thought maybe they were going to give the penguin to one of the other gals. And I was just praying. I was like, I love you guys, but please be Penelope. Oh my God. So when it stayed Penelope, I was just like so happy.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah.
There was a project that you worked on way back in 2005 that never aired. Do you remember Velvet Lamour? Do you remember? Do you recognize
Velvet Lamour?
Was it Lamour?
Are you talking about mine, Velvet Lamour?
Yeah.
Are you talking about from the stage show? Velvet Lamour. Each and every
from America's Next Muppet?
Oh, that. Oh, you know what?
Was this like an original character that you brought along to that project?
Yeah. This was
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is crazy. Well, first of all, Velvet Lamour is from Wake Up You're Weird. It was a puppet that was like full body, and and it was from my stage show where she was Lolly's fairy godmother. And so I was building her, and I was workshopping an idea that it was like a show to help kids navigate life creatively. And Bill says, I need you to be kind of like on this show, I want you to say that you're a teacher, and and you're, because it's a pilot, so we want to see if this works. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, what do you got? And I had different puppets and stuff. And he goes, I like this one. And I'm like, are you sure? It's like, okay. And he picked that one, and I don't even remember it. I also had like an old lady puppet, it was before I had Granny Dot, which was, she looked more like Lolly's grandma. So it was a weird sock puppet that I made out of I cut the head off a turtle, not a real turtle, stuffed turtle. Splash and Bubbles, I played on that too. But anyway, so I don't even know what happened to that. Has anybody even seen that? But I remember being judged by Dave Goles, and it was just bizarre. But
what a weird thing. We've gotten so little information about what that project, like what actually happened on that pilot. And so like you brought on a character that you owned, that I guess potentially, if it wasn't just a pilot, you would have potentially, like, your character would have joined the Muppet troupe, and then you would have no longer owned.
Yeah, would they have rebuilt it to be more Muppety? Like,
I have no idea. I think it was just. I think honestly, they were just trying to figure that out. Like how would this be? And then I think if it did go to the next level, first of all, I wouldn't probably be part of it, although now I think I would like to audition so I can be on the Muppets again. No, I'm just kidding. but I mean, I think it was just trying to figure it out, and because I think Bill thought, well, this is a different puppet, because if you don't, for the audience, it's full, I'm standing, the puppet is in front of me. And when I had my show with Disney, I had these characters, Flip, Flop, and Fly, that sang Andrew's sister harmony behind me. And Flip was an Alaskan Husky. Flop was a Alaskan Husky modeled after Lauren Bacall. Flop was a Rottweiler modeled after Pearl Bailey. And Fly was a fox modeled after, I don't have any pictures, but it doesn't matter, modeled after Amelia Earhart. And they were these, like if you stand up, the wolf is in front of you, the characters are in front of you, and your left hand, if your right hand's in the body, and then your left hand is in the face, and your left hand, and you're connected to it, so the body moves it. Now Lion King kind of like that, like Timon, I guess, maybe. So but Velvet was even bigger. And then I got a grant, and I haven't done her in so long, since Wake Up You're Weird, but Jim Krupa did the mechs on her. And the only thing is that he focused her eyes for television and not for stage. So the difference is, for the viewers at home, the eyes, when you look at for a puppet on television, they're slightly together more, and they can, for stage, can come off looking mildly cross-eyed. So because of that, Velvet had to move around a lot, and stuff, because I was like, but yeah, that's bizarre. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that's the most I've
Muppet
had.
Project.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think that's the most information I've ever heard about that next Muppet pilot.
Well, Grant Pachoco was on that, and he, which I know you guys know him, and I was performing under this gay bar in Silver Lake. That's where I was performing a lot, because I was the queen of Silver Lake. I won that drag competition. I don't know if I mentioned it. And I in a documentary called Tucking Beauty, but they didn't follow me because I wasn't scheduled to win, and I ended up winning. But anyway, that's another story. And Eric Garcetti gave me like an award and everything. But Grant Pachoco and I, that's where we met. And I just thought he had I think a dog puppet that kind of looked like Sweet Polly Purebred from, and then we became friends, and he came, he goes, I'm doing a show in Silver Lake. And he came to the show, and he goes, you lied to me. He goes, you said you were a teacher. You were on the Muppets. He goes, I believed everything. I wanted you to win. And I was like, Bill asked me to play this teacher. They were just trying this scenario out. It wasn't for real. So but we became friends. We remained friends.
He didn't hold it against you for the rest of your relationship.
No, he's been really helpful. He's always really believed in me, helped me start my podcast, Lolly's Radio Playdate and stuff. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I have one more Lolly question, and then I think I'm pretty much spent for now. But here's the big one that I've been holding on to. Why Milanos?
That's Paul Rudolph.
Yeah?
Yeah, Paul found the Paul? Yeah. Do you want to come talk about the Milano cookie really quick? Double guest.
Paul
Double
Rudolph.
guest.
Paul Rudolph? I'll take I guess I could just...
The most handsome man in music.
Oh!
Paul Rudolph.
Here, can I just pull this out? And they can hear you?
No.
Okay. Here then. Answer. They have a question.
Oh,
Quickly. It's only an hour show. Okay.
oh, we're timed right now. It's
It's
a
fine.
timed
You
So
can
we're
make
he
it
making
said,
more
fun.
time
"My
for you, Paul."
Milanos," and I said, "That's Paul."
Hi, Paul.
Rudolph.
Hi, Paul.
Tell him about how you found the Milano.
How did I find it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a classic. It's an old song. I just found it in my collection, but I figured, it would work well because didn't you have Milano puppets?
No,
Or
I didn't. No.
Well, then you tell the story because I don't remember. I'm really
That
tired.
was the
Paul Rudolph,
worst
everybody.
guest appearance ever. Oh my gosh! I'm sorry. Gosh,
Oh,
go
that
play
was
pig with
fantastic.
Newhart. That was anticlimactic. He found the song and he said, "I think Lolly should cover this song," and I'm like, "Oh, that would be great. That'd be a great song." That would be a great song. I had to make the Milano cookies, and so John Kennedy and we made them out of paper mache and rulers, and I had made them really quick to look like cookies. And then Paul he reorchestrated it. All the background vocals are him and myself. And then we had people over. It was Carmen's birthday, I think it was, and we just had people over in our apartment. We didn't have a monitor, so we put our television on the floor, and we had this tiny little backdrop, and it was Carmen Osbar, Ryan Dillon, John Kennedy, Stephanie DeBruzzo, and myself. Grant joined later, and I had these amazing puppeteers. But all those Milanos, Stephanie and John and Ryan were doing 2 each. So it was amazing. And then Carm did my hands, and we just played. And then Brad Kemp, Paul's heating up something now.
I love it.
It adds more human nature.
Exactly right.
Yes.
I'm heating up some Milano cookies.
Well, it's funny because I don't have any puppets, right, for this alien reenactment. So I dressed up the Milano. You can't really see. It's so lame.
Well, we could see it.
That's pretty
It's so
cool.
lame. But I also
It's a pretty
dressed up the
scary Milano,
Milanos as
everybody.
kidneys for Becky Ray's kidney. I just turned the Milanos into kidneys. But now,
That's great.
here's the cool thing is now I have Lolly's repertoire. And so now I dress the Milanos up for Candy Dance. I gave them gummy arms and stuff. And so now I think it's those are her backups.
That's right. Those are her pips.
Yeah. So it's really, I really wish Pepperidge Farms would sponsor us.
Oh,
That's what I was
definitely.
going to ask if you've reached out to Pepperidge Farms. Because it seems like a gimme.
I mean, really? I know. I mean, totally. We posted they have a Facebook page. We posted the video there. We sent it to them. Plus, I think Granny Doc could be a spokesperson because I don't remember, but Pepperidge Farms remembers. And, I always wanted them to sponsor our Lolly's Radio Playdate, or anything we do, like the old shows back in the day, Soap did. Pepperidge Farms should definitely sponsor anything.
Yeah.
The Pepperidge Farm Lolly's Playdate featuring Leslie Carrara-Rudolph.
Why not? Gosh, I
It's
hope
right there. It rolls right off the
Do
tongue.
you think they're listening to your podcast?
Well, they're next week's guest.
Yes.
So.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know if you knew that John Favreau actually he owns Pepperidge Farm.
Yeah.
So he's going to be
So
our
it's the whole
guest.
thing next
Oh
week.
my gosh. By the way, I still have the platypus you gave me.
I was so well. I mean that leads us into talking about the love of my life, Abby Cadabby. I adore that little fairy with every fibre of my being. The photo of Abby and I was my Tinder profile picture for years.
Did it work, Jarrod? Did it work?
It didn't work. Oh, Ellen Newhart.
Hi, Newhart. Newhart's on camera.
Newhart's
right now,
on camera.
You can't see him.
Just as adorable as Abby.
And he just got a haircut, so he looks extra adorable.
Yeah. Well, Abby's part puppy. Yeah.
Yeah. So if people don't know, during the interview, where I interviewed Abby, so I went and did some research before that interview with Cookie Monster and Abby, and I was like, I don't quite know what to do here, but Abby had kept on mentioning platypuses. I was like, well, I need to buy her one. So I went to 4 different shops until I finally found this little figurine. It took me ages, and then and I gave it to Abby, and I've got a wonderful photo of you holding it up, and Abby holding it up with me, and yeah, it's nice to know you still have it.
I do. I love. It's my favorite. They're duck beavers. They're like. Well, I have to tell you, I have a beef with Australia because they don't. I had the hardest time finding platypuses. I got one in Melbourne. His name's Mel, and then you gave me one, Sid.
Yep.
And but I looked everywhere. I found one place to have that had a platypus T-shirt. Abby has a platypus club. I don't know if you know that, but she's got a few people in it. You know, they like platypuses and
Can I join?
platypi. Yes, absolutely.
Right, I'm in.
You know, it's platypus.
The dues are crazy though.
I mean, she loves them. Like we and there was one that almost on the set whenever there's art, we have Bruce, which is a bag puppet that is a platypus that the set people make for Abby.
Mm-hmm.
But that was so amazing. I love Abby. She's like a puppy dog, you know.
Yeah.
She's always there to play with you.
It was
she's
funny.
all heart. She will champion you.
Doing that interview, because I'd interviewed Cookie Monster beforehand, and I sort of knew what that dynamic was going to be, but I was like, I don't quite know how Abby and I are going to work together because, and then someone finally said, well, you and Abby need to be the straight person, and then you've got Cookie Monster being like the crazy one. And I sort of went, okay, and I sort of thought about it, and then if you watch that interview, especially towards the end, it becomes like Abby and I versus Cookie Monster, like us trying to rein him in. And so I've just got a real soft spot because I'm like, Abby's my partner in crime.
Mm-hmm. She will always have your back. You know, she's like the ultimate, you know, cheerleader, champion. Wants to be the best friend you possibly could have. You know, I think that's what her and Lolly have in common. Like we always want to be there, you know, and I think for me, when they had the fairy garden and I walked in there and they had snapdragons, I just started crying. I was just like, that's my first puppet, you know, and I spent a lot of time in the backyard just being my own best friend and, you know, working with kids. When I auditioned for Abby, I was like so nervous that day, and I had Lolly with me, and Cheryl Blaylock says, why don't you just come visit me in the park? And I'm like, before you go in, I'm like, okay. So I went to the dog park and I touched every dog possible so I could have dog energy on my hand. And then I went and Cheryl was doing some stuff because she's helps with Central Park. And then there were some kids out there and I just put Lolly on and I just started playing with the kids and interacting. And then I was completely calm and I was just like, this is what I love to do more than anything, is help people collaborate with their spirits and feel happy and joy and tell stories. And so when I went in right from there, I was in such a good space. And then seeing, you know, Sonia Manzano kind of getting butterflies over seeing her, and then friend Brill. And then Kevin Clash actually sent me my audition tape. And he says, you and Fran were improvising for like 25 minutes. Like we were just like, they were two kids like, when we were just playing, I'm like, my dad has gas, so we have to give him fennel cookies. And, so, and when I saw her, she was just like, oh my God, she's a puppy dog. She's just so charming and fun. So
every time I have ever been on the Sesame set, and if you're there and if Abby's there, I can't look away when like the camera's cut and then you, or really Abby, makes like a mad rush for whoever is like in the studio watching, whether it's kids or adults or a group of people or one person, whatever, and Abby just suddenly becomes their best friend, and you give them so much attention, and there's so much joy that like you said you were doing with Lolly in the park with the kids, that you don't get with literally any other character on Sesame Street. That personal touch and that joy that this character can give to people just because they happen to be nearby. It's such a special thing.
It really is.
I mean, yeah, you really.
Thanks,
I hope that you feel how special that is as well.
I do.
You really go above and beyond for people.
I feel like that's like the real magic. I really believe when you believe in someone and they believe in you is like probably the biggest gift, and just in that moment. And I feel like when kids are there, it's just so like one of my favorite moments is, and I actually have a picture of it, is when my friend's son just put his hand on Abby's hand, or when they're sitting down and they just put, like, I love that little boys like her too, that that they think she's cool, or they want to stand up for her and she can stand up for them, or that she's funny. And she's like, why I don't wear shoes? Because my feet sweat. They sweat like crazy. I mean, I can't look how fur they are. Like, it's just like, and it's almost like, in Monsters Inc., when you hear a kid laugh.
Yeah.
That's where I get the energy, or just like even, and also seeing the parents, because that they're getting to witness their child still full of wonder, and then they get to be a kid.
That's it. I mean, like, again, by the time I'd interviewed Abby, like I'd interviewed Cookie and Elmo, and I'd been on the Muppet set and stuff like that, and I'd been to Sesame Street, and I never believed in a character more than I did with Abby during that interview. She just, and I'm not lying when I say she might be the love of my life. I adore her.
You did give her a platypus.
I did give her a platypus. I'm sure
that she was like, we're together.
You didn't give anything to Cookie Monster, did you?
No, I gave Cookie Monster a...
Forget that guy.
I don't know if this will look familiar to you. Again, the most visual podcast in the world. This is the actual clipboard, Leslie, that if you remember... I don't know if you remember the end of the interview, but Cookie Monster eats the clipboard.
Ate it.
This is the actual clipboard. I hold it on me always.
Jarrod, why don't you explain what you're holding?
I should explain. I'm holding it. Sorry, I forgot. I'm holding a clipboard that, if you've seen the interviews I've done with Cookie Monster, both of them, he's eaten my clipboard at the end of them. This is, so it's a clipboard, it's black, but it's got, what I've done is basically taken giant chew marks out of it, I guess. So it looks like it's actually been eaten. But this is the actual one from both interviews.
That was great. Well, a lot of it too, like people... when we're out and about, I feel like there's characters that are like Abby still, well, she's 15 years old now, been on, but when I first was going out, like people already know Cookie Monster's personality. Yeah. They already know Elmo's personality. They're like, let's see, you're on. I said, no. Like, I'm feeling the room. I gotta get, they can look at Abby and they're like, she likes to rhyme, she's cute. I'm like, no, she's funny, she's warming up the guests, she's finding out, have to get to know them, and they need to get to know her so they know that she's funny and approachable, or so a lot of it is just me making sure that there's an authentic connection, and I think that's what happens when there's an authentic connection, you know. And you know, I don't know. It's mutual. The feeling's mutual. I get just as enamored and excited as the guest when there's that kind of connection that you're like, this is joy. Like, because this moment I always say, we'll always have this moment.
Yeah.
Because they're so rare.
Yeah.
I have a very fond memory of you and I were on backstage at Sesame, and I don't remember what was going on, but Snuffy was there that day. Like, Snuffy was going to be in a scene, and I guess Marty and whoever was playing the back half, they had to go from.
Yeah.
It was Brian, probably. Yeah, I'm sure it was. But Marty and Brian had to get the Snuffy puppet from. Nobody's gonna know what I'm talking about, but like that backstage, that the second stage, and then through where craft services is, and up into the main street. And
yes.
A bunch of us. Do you remember this? We were like, a few of us were just like standing there. We're just chit chatting, and
we were in the DMZ.
Like,
and we were talking with I can't think of her name, the craft service person. I just loved her. She was fabulous. Anyway, go on. Tell your story.
Yeah, and Snuffy literally is running. He's running.
He's booking.
And he runs toward us and makes a hard right and keeps on running. And I'm standing there with my camera. Like, I took a ton of pictures. And Snuffy ran past us. It was an incredible moment. And then you, like, turned around and you faced, there's probably 4 or 5 of us just standing there watching this. And you just said, we are always going to have this moment. And I think about that all the time. We had that moment together.
Yeah.
And what an amazing moment it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
I never take it for granted. I walk on, I never ever take it for granted, because I feel like still, when I picked that angel card that said adventure, when I made that wish, like, I wish I could fit in somewhere, I felt I really believe that somebody up there or somewhere is listening to my wish, so that was such a great moment, because he was booking.
Oh, that's terrifying.
I thought I was going to
in such a rush?
somewhere.
I have
Yeah.
Snuffy, I mean, he's gorgeous, but he terrifies me a little bit. I think I have a slight phobia of Snuffy. If he started booking it towards me, I think I would have ran.
He literally, it was like that scene in Get Out where the guy is running.
I still haven't seen it.
Right?
I'm too scared.
Oh, it's so good. But yeah.
Well, Leslie, you've been very kind with your time. I just looking at my, I don't think I've laughed during an interview as much as I have today. We end every podcast with a set of questions. I have a set. Joe has some for his guest. So these are just rapid fire, as quick as you like. Okay, question 1. What is your favorite TV show?
Oh, God, I can't.
Is it something embarrassing?
No, I just can't think of it.
Is it a guilty pleasure?
No, I can't think of it. I'm terrible. Can I come back to that?
Sure. Would you?
I would say Monty Python, because I just.
That's right. We'll take Monty Python. That's a good answer.
Okay.
That's a great answer.
No, Carol Burnett. Oh my God! How could I not say Carol Burnett?
All right.
Stop. Carol Burnett and Monty Python. Those two.
Would you rather be able to fly or become invisible?
Oh. Fly.
Is soup?
Leslie, you can already fly.
This is true. Invisible.
Is soup a food or a drink?
Food.
Okay.
Soup?
Jarrod, not one person has said drink.
I will go to my grave saying it's a drink.
Good Lord, Jarrod.
With all the chunks in it. Ugh.
If a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yes.
Asked by our last guest, your friend Eric Jacobson, what is your favorite snack food?
Popcorn.
Finally, without knowing who it is, what question would you like our next guest to answer?
Oh, but I know it's Jon Favreau. Okay.
What do you want,
Jon Just Favreau in case it's not, in case we can't
what would I like? Oh, you know what? I asked this to I can't say who. If Abby could poof in well, this is an Abby thing. Like, if you can bring somebody right in front of you, who would it be?
I love that. That is a
And
great
I
one.
asked a guess, and they said The Rock.
Well, The Rock is
By the
our
way,
next guest.
It would be cool.
Have you seen his show,
Rock?
Young Rock?
I haven't, no.
It's really good.
Well, I think it starts here next week, so I might have to catch it.
Yeah, catch it. It's good.
I'm glad we're
Catch the
giving The
Rock.
Rock the publicity he needs. Leslie, you are truly, I said this during the introduction, you're the most delightful person I've ever met. And I can't help you, I can't thank you enough for giving us your time tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I'm honored you thought I was a celebrity. Here's the fairy wave, by the way.
Oh yes, I did get a hug from you during that thing, and we did the little fairy wave.
The fairy wave.
The fairy hug.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.